Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video, and this is episode number 4 of my F1 2015 Zero to Hero, and we are here for the Russian Grand Prix and the 4th round of the championship. And hope you guys are enjoying this series. I just want to quickly say a massive thank you for all the support so far. You guys are absolutely loving the return of this series, and I'm absolutely loving actually making it for you guys, so a massive thank you for the support. But obviously if you guys watched the last episode, then a spoiler alert, last time out we did get a 10-second penalty on the start line, so we've got to wait for 10 seconds when the lights go out this race. Now quickly looking at the setup for this race, we did actually unlock, I believe, the front toe for this race, so we've added that on into the setup here. So we've now got 3 elements of our setup which are actually modified, apart from the rest of it which is still default. So so far our setup is coming along nicely, and the car is slowly but surely progressing. And right now it's just a case of we've got a very slow first couple of laps ahead of us, because obviously we're going to have a 10-second start penalty. So because of that, I'm going to move on to the prime tyres, and just like last time out in China, we're going to start on the primes and do our damage later on the more softer option tyres, which in this case are the super softs. So we're going to move into the race now, and you guys will see I'll put a timer on screen, and I'm going to be on the grid for 10 seconds flat, and then we're going to get underway and the Russian Grand Prix will begin. So here we go then, we're just gearing up to the 10 seconds. Meanwhile the cars down the end are already shooting off, making their way into turn number 2, and here we go, we're up to 10 seconds right about now, and off we go then off the line. Finally now getting a pretty shaky start, but we're now going to try and push as hard as we can on these prime tyres and try and make this stint last, stretch it out a little bit, but at the same time try and do some damage. And moving later on to lap number 2, and as you can see we've got a yellow flag here, and there's a car that spun off at turn number 3, and we've got to wait and see who it is. And it looks like Williams is Felipe Massa there, so Massa's gone for a spin, so a bit of an incident there for the Brazilian driver. So we're going to look at a replay here quickly, and we're on board with Massa here, as you can see going through turn number 3 now, and nothing happens, and all of a sudden I think he gets a right rear puncture, and then he goes for a massive spin, a huge high speed spin there for the Brazilian driver. And as you can see, all the cars just come whizzing past him on the turn 3 grandstand of Danny Kvyat, I believe, which is named after, and I go past right there right at the end. So a very unfortunate incident there from Felipe Massa, who's got a right rear puncture, and he's going to have to trundle back to the pit lane with 3 tyres pretty much. And moving later on lap 3, 1 lap later, and we got a yellow flag once again here. We're behind Pascal Wehrlein, and there's been a huge crash, and Massa is in there as well. So Massa must have triggered a huge accident, because he was literally 2 corners behind a lap ago, and we've still got problems here as there's a yellow flag for some reason, and there's cars with punctures and front wings missing, so all sorts of problems here at the Russian Grand Prix. And I'm just trying to negotiate here some of the issues, and also I can't overtake because of the yellow flag. So a very tricky situation here. We've got both of the McLarens and the Manners ahead of us, and we're trying to pull off an overtake here on Wehrlein, but we get the yellow flag once again, and Hulkenberg, I believe, ahead of us, as I got no front wings. So he's causing all sorts of trouble here. As you can see, Hulkenberg there in the middle of a McLaren sandwich. As we go into the next corner, there's contact between Hulkenberg and Button. Button manages to catch his car, but Hulkenberg there without a front wing, and we managed to get past him. So a very hectic couple of laps here, all triggered because of Felipe Massa's right rear puncture there. So some very interesting scenes here, very similar to Bahrain actually, where there was a huge pile up there on the first couple of laps of the Grand Prix. So that's brought us up into P14, but unfortunately because of the 10-second penalty plus all of the time we lost in that incident, we've lost so much time to the leaders, and it might be quite hard for us this race to get a top 3 podium and actually get an upgrade. So we've got to work cut out this race to really put on a show. But we're going to look at a replay of what happened to Massa. As you can see, Ricardo hits the back of him there and gets himself DNF from the race, and then Massa meanwhile is going to cause a massive train here and spins out of control and collects everybody. Look at this, like 8 or 9 cars here all get collected. Carlos Sainz on the left hand side there goes straight into the wall, and just a huge crash there, and Massa just triggering the accident all the way because of his right rear puncture. So a very interesting crash there, you've got to say, and very disappointing that AI really are quite that bad with only 3 tyres. But nevertheless, moving later on lap 4, we've got a yellow flag here, so I'm trying to get past Alonso on this back straight, but there's no way through because of it, and it's Massa again still trying to make his way back to the pit lane. So it's taken him 4 laps and he's still not back in the pit lane yet, and I was going to pull off a move on Alonso there because of the yellow flag. I couldn't make the move on him, so I'm having to wait behind him for another lap here, and finally at the end of lap 4 onto the start of lap 5. This time we should be okay, as we're picking up some mega slipstream on Fernando Alonso here, and we're going to be able to get past him way before the DRS here through turn 1 on the main straight here. Just open up the DRS and get past him nice and easily in a straight line way before turn 2 there. So we've now got ourselves up into P12, and just want to point my attention to Haryanto there just in front, who's in the points there, P10 for Manor. So an impressive start to the race for him. But now we're going to make a move on Jenson Button here as we go just past. We managed to get past him before the yellow flag, but then Button re-overtakes us under the yellow flags, so automatically I get my position back, and for some reason I get an illegal overtake even though Button was the one who overtook me on the yellow flags, and once again it's Felipe Massa who's gone for a spin there, and in the process of letting Button back through, Alonso gets re-overtakes me. So the McLarens there being very, very sneaky, but I definitely thought, I don't know why Button re-overtook me there under the yellow flag, and I thought I was entitled to re-overtake that position because I was ahead of him anyway. But nevertheless, now lap 6, 3 wide here down the pit straight, and we're going to pull off a double overtake on the McLarens here into turn number 1. A little bit of contact there with Alonso, I believe, but we get the move done there, and we make a double overtake on the McLarens into the second corner, and this time we do leave the McLarens behind for good. And a couple laps later, we're on the back of Rio Haryanto here, who's in that good P10, but we're going to demote him back down to P11 and outside of the points as we get past him through turn 1 with the help of a little bit of DRS there, and we're going to make the move on the Indonesian driver, and we're going to get past him way before turn 2, and we're going to hold on to the racing line and then try and push on now. We've got a little bit of clear air ahead of us here, so this is when the laps are really going to have to start to count and really pump in some decent lap times here. So moving later on, as you can see, on lap 8, we're up into P9 now. We've got Sergio Perez in the pit lane, I believe, and 1 lap later we've got a couple more cars in the pits, which promotes us up into P7, and we're currently hunting down Jolyon Palmer in the Renault, who's in a very impressive P6 so far, but we're about to push him down to P7, I believe, because we're going to pick up some DRS here on this back straight and put off the move on the British driver here as we go side by side with the Renault. The Renault actually with some pretty decent straight line speed here and struggling to get past even with DRS, but we're going to make the move hopefully into the braking zone. We're going to go around the outside of Jolyon Palmer there. Fantastic overtake on the British driver, and that is the job done and dusted, and we're up into P6, I believe. So so far some really solid progress, and later on we would get up into P5, and we're actually going to come in for our first stop of the race now on lap 11, and it's going to be a 2-stop strategy. So we're going to go into a set of super softs now, and we'll do one more stop after to go into another set of super softs later on, because there is very little tire wear here at Sochi. So here we go into the pit box now, going on to a Red Bull set of super soft tires, and now as we're going to try and make the pace count, we're going to crank up into rich mix as soon as we leave the pit lane, and we're going to make these laps count because this is where the damage will be done, and this is what's going to set us up for a decent end to the race, I feel, if we can have some good pace, because the AI generally are quite slow around this track. So I definitely feel like we can cause some damage here as we rejoin just behind Felipe Nasr. And speaking of Felipe Nasr, we catch up to the back of him literally 1 lap later on lap 12, and we're all over the back of the Brazilian driver here. We're going to try and line him up for a move as we pull to the inside here. Can we overtake him before the penultimate corner here? We're going to go up the inside. Lovely stuff there, taking the racing line. Nasr gives us all of the room in the world, and we're going to take that position lovely jubbly. And moving later on lap 15, and we've caught up to Danny Kvyat in the Toro Rosso, who's behind Marcus Ericsson, and Barish having a pretty decent start to the race here, benefiting from the crash at the start of the race and looking in pretty decent shape here so far in Sochi. And they've got a double point scoring position so far as we got the inside of Danny Kvyat, and we're now on the back of Marcus Ericsson, who's in P5 like I said, and a very impressive job from him so far this race. But we're going to actually go for the sensible move here. We could have gone for the move into the final corner, but I think better of it and wait for the DRS, which just becomes available there, and we're going to make the move on Marcus Ericsson down the pit straight into turn number 1 there as we just get ahead of him into the second corner here. So a nice move there on both of those cars, and also I think that was Massa there rejoining, who's like 2 or 3 laps down, so very poor race from him. But we set the fastest lap of the race on lap 17, and that's quite surprising actually, because we're pretty much 6 or 7 laps into our stint, and then the very next lap we set another fastest lap of the race, so a 38.4 there, a very impressive lap time indeed. And the lap time is really coming down here, and the super softs are actually holding up quite nicely here. And this is pretty much proving my point, because Vettel has just pitted for the second time, and he's come out on a fresh set of soft tyres. But even me on my super worn super softs, I'm still much faster than him, and I make the move on my teammate way before the braking zone here, and I'm actually faster than anybody else on track here on these super softs. But either way, I'm still going to pit in at the end of lap 19 because I didn't feel like the tyres were going to go to the end of the race, and either way I might as well go on fresh tyres anyway and do my damage and have a bit more fun and set some faster lap times. So we're going to come in for our final stop of the race here, going on to another set of super softs like I said before, and it's going to be a pretty decent pit stop, 2.5 I believe, and we're going to rejoin I think just behind Valtteri Bottas I believe. So we've got our work cut out in this final stint if we want to try and do any sort of damage. Right now as things stand, we're actually in a downgrade position, so if we finish the race in P5 we could be spinning the wheel for the first downgrade of the season here, whereas if we get to P4, which is what Bottas is currently in, then that would give us safety and we wouldn't spin the wheel at all, so we'd be in a neutral position for the next race. So here we go on lap 22 with the DRS wide open on the back straight. We've got the rich mix enabled here, and we're going to try and pull off a move on Valtteri Bottas. We go for a little dummy on the outside, then switch back to the inside, and we're going to go up the inside of the braking zone here and get the move done on him. But Bottas is having none of it as he goes back up my inside here, but I just got so much more grip around the outside, and I just fly past him there and make the move for P4. And moving later on, as you see, we set the fastest lap of the race again, a 37.8, incredible pace from my Ferrari, and we cut all the way onto the final lap of the race, and I've caught up to Vettel once again here, but it's looking like I might not be able to pull off a move here because I'm just a little bit too far back here. I'm going to go for the dive here and have a look up the inside, but Vettel is too good on the brakes and I can't get him, and it's going to be P4 for the Russian Grand Prix, but a pretty decent result actually, considering everything that happened, the 10-second start line penalty, and then the amount of time I lost with Massa causing all sorts of problems in the first half of the race. I was definitely quite happy with that result. I think P4 is probably the best we could have got, and also it means that we don't actually get any downgrades, so obviously there's no more upgrades, but at least we don't downgrade, so we're in a neutral position for the next race. So the very same setup we have for this race is the one that will carry over for the next one in Spain, I believe. So I'm looking at the final race results. It's a 1-2 for Mercedes with Vettel and myself in 3rd and 4th, with Valtteri Bottas in 5th, and then Marcus Ericsson all the way up in 6th place there, so very impressive result from him. And Danny Kvyat, Felipe Nasser and Jolyon Palmer ran off the point scoring positions, with Daniel Ricciardo there DNFing because of that massive crash with Felipe Massa at the start of the race, and also both of the Manners there in 15th to 16th, so impressive result from them. But those have been the final race results, and we're now going to move into the Drivers' Championship, and as you can see, we are currently 20 points behind Nico Rosberg there, still in 2nd place, 3 points ahead of our teammate, but Lewis Hamilton crucially is catching up. He had a very poor start to the season, but he's really picking up some form now, and there's 5 points covering myself, Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, so very, very interesting there. That scrap for 2nd place is getting very tasty already. And finally looking at the constructor standings, as you can see, Mercedes have pulled out a gap of 18 points over Ferrari, so me and Vettel have work to do here, and we are miles clear of anybody else in the top 2 of the championship, with Sauber getting their first points of the season. But looking at the rules and permutations, as you can see, 4th place means no spin of the wheel, so there will be no spin of the wheel this episode, no upgrades or downgrades, so we're just going to move into the next race as if nothing happened, and we're going to get a clean slate, same setup as this race, but no start line penalties or anything like that, so no jokers for the next race. And yeah guys, that's about for this video of Zero to Hero. If you have enjoyed it, then please do leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. If we could hit 80 likes, that would be absolutely fantastic. And if you're new on here, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. And yeah guys, that's about for this video, and I'll see you in my next one very soon. Goodbye.